FELIPE. It's absolutely terrifying. The concessions that Paraguay basically makes to the American military, I'll just mention a few of them. There are countless, but just a few. For example, the Americans can bring whatever military equipment they want into Paraguayan territory without any kind of inspection.
Military personnel, civilians from the Department of Defense, FBI agents, and even American contractors have received full authorization from the Paraguayan government to enter the country and carry out operations against criminal organizations. With FBI agents already positioned in the capital, Asunción, and in the tri-border area, Paraguay has shown initiative and sent a clear message to the Brazilian government. Crime needs to be confronted with concrete and coordinated actions.
What is the size of the prison population in Paraguay?
15,000.
15,000.
And the presence of the PCC is very significant. It's very important.
This decision strengthens the presence of the United States in the region and puts pressure on Brazil, which still hesitates to sign similar agreements. The crackdown on criminal networks operating in the region has already begun, and doubting the possibility of Donald Trump authorizing military operations on Brazilian soil is like stating the obvious. Welcome to life in the barracks. The military agreement signed between the United States and Paraguay profoundly changed the dynamics of the American offensive against the cartels in Latin America. Brazil's absence from this pact raised a worrying alert in the Planalto, in Brasília, since, among the three countries that make up the triple border, Brazil was the only one not to sign the treaty. This decision opens the door for Trump to authorize unilateral actions on Brazilian territory against criminal factions, putting the country in the crosshairs of Washington's military moves. With the arrival of American troops in the region and the massive positioning of the Southern Command in the Pacific, the situation becomes chaotic for the current president of Brazil, who may witness strategic incursions on Brazilian soil at any moment. The international perception is that the Brazilian government is unable to contain internal threats or does not show interest in acting decisively. The presence of American military personnel in Paraguay completely changes the balance of power in the tri-border region. The Marines are specialists in river operations, using their expertise in patrolling rivers and swampy areas to neutralize hostile agents. In support of amphibious operations, the United States Navy has fast and armored boats, reconnaissance drones, and night vision equipment, making it possible to intercept boats used by drug traffickers, expanding control over strategic areas. At the same time, the United States Army can take responsibility for ground operations along the border areas. With highly trained personnel, armored vehicles, support helicopters, and artillery systems, the Army is able to establish a presence at critical points and choke off land routes used by the factions. Its logistical capacity and rapid mobilization ensure that large contingents can be deployed in a short time, increasing the pressure on groups operating in hard-to-reach areas. The North American Air Force completes this siege with squadrons specialized in monitoring and attacking vessels ranging from small boats to cargo ships. Aircraft such as the P-8 Poseidon designed for maritime patrol and F-18 and F-35 fighters, capable of carrying out precision strikes, extend the reach of operations. EMIC Reaper drones can also be used for continuous surveillance and surgical strikes. With this apparatus, Brazil is gradually being surrounded and monitored without fanfare.
This is the main border of South America, connecting 3 countries at a single point. We're talking about the triple border between Brazil, Paraguay, and Argentina, where the cities of Foz do Iguaçu, Ciudad del Este, and Puerto Iguaçu are located. The borders are defined by the Iguaçu and Paraná rivers. The integration between Brazil and Paraguay is through the Friendship Bridge and more recently with the new Integration Bridge.
The Paraguayan armed forces, although smaller compared to those of its neighbors, have well-trained units in ground combat and river operations, as well as experience in border patrol. Their ability to quickly mobilize in strategic areas is a distinguishing factor, especially in regions that are hard to access. However, external support from the Pentagon is seen as essential to expand the reach and effectiveness of the operations, since Paraguay faces limitations in weaponry and technological resources. Brazil should be standing shoulder to shoulder with the American military fighting for the same goal, which would be to undermine the structures of the criminal factions operating in the country and choke off their funding networks. However, the Brazilian military, who have always maintained a long-standing friendship and partnership with the United States forces, now find themselves with their hands tied. The current Brazilian president shows indifference in the face of the chaos experienced by the population, where violence is increasing and the sense of insecurity grows worse day by day, leaving the armed forces without political support to act decisively. A partnership with the United States could optimize and strengthen Brazil's military power, since the national armed forces face serious limitations, such as obsolete equipment, technological lag, and embarrassing incidents that expose their weakness.
Brazilian Navy becomes a joke worldwide after a ship runs aground on a beach.
2 boats went to remove that Navy vessel, which was stranded and is still at Macamba Beach in the southwest zone. But both of them also got stuck there,
stuck in the sand, with a report from Julia Cabreiro. It was supposed to be a maneuver to refloat a Navy vessel, the ship Guarapari. 2 boats were sent to the location for this purpose, but they also got stuck in the sand.
This episode illustrates the urgent need for modernization and international cooperation, because without external support, Brazil runs the risk of becoming isolated and unable to face the growing power of criminal factions. Paraguay took the first step back in 2025 when it authorized the installation of an FBI base on its territory, marking a significant change in the way the country deals with organized crime in Paraguay.
Enrique Riera here at Cable News Network. He gave an exclusive interview to our Luciana Tadeu, Latin America correspondent at Cable News Network Brazil, and gave details about this base that will be established. He said it will be in Asunción, the capital of Paraguay, focusing on combating terrorism and mainly against Hezbollah. But in addition, there will also be a base at the tri-border area with Paraguay, Argentina, and Brazil, with 15 agents trained by the FBI, which is the federal police of the United States, because of this partnership that the Paraguayan government is having closely, according to him, with Donald Trump's government.
Now, in 2026, the decision to allow the landing of American military personnel, including weapons and equipment, represents a strategic advance of great impact. This move could redefine Brazil's influence as the main regional player, since the United States now has a solid platform for direct operations in the tri-border area. In addition, the United States military presence in Paraguay opens the way for the United States Department of Defense to use the country as a launching base for offensives against criminals operating in Brazilian territory. If anyone still doubts that this could happen, just look at the recent precedents in Venezuela and Iran, where Washington did not hesitate to act decisively when it deemed necessary. Leave your countdown for the Brazilian factions that haunt the lives of good citizens, but whose days are numbered, here in the comments. Did you like it? Here at Life in the Barracks, you stay up to date with everything happening in the military world. Leave your like, subscribe, and watch one of the videos appearing on your screen. Forward fighters, see you next time.